Well, hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I think it's time to take a better look at the Panda 4x4 and make a little drive video on it. And I bought this car 9 months ago. The story about how I got this car was quite fun. This car was not for sale anywhere, but I was fixing up the Skoda 105. Check the link for the series on that one. And I got new tires fitted. I can't do that myself, or it's not worth the bother at least. And then, so I used a local shop. They were not that good at doing it either, because I got the tires back home. Then the day after, one of them was flat. Then I went back there. They tried to seal it up. I took it back again. It was flat again. Then the third time we went there, on the parking lot, this car was. I love this car. I don't even think I ever seen a 4x4, at least not in Denmark. I've seen them in Italy, but not in Denmark. So when I saw it, I couldn't really believe my eyes. And also when I went a bit closer, I could see that it wasn't completely rusty, which was even more unbelievable. So yeah, I just stood outside at the parking lot waiting for the owner. And when the owner got out, I asked him if I could buy it. And I could. I really did not expect that. And I have been driving it ever since as a daily. This car is, it's hard to explain, but it seems to be capable of everything. Not very good, but it's capable of everything you throw at it, pretty much. I can go on the highway at high speeds, 110, 120, okay-ish. It actually does that fine, but it gets a lot of revs, that's for sure. You can go off-road. And you can go quite far off-road, but it got limits because it's not that high, and it doesn't got differential locks and so on. You can haul quite a lot of stuff because even though the car is small, it's quite roomy inside. That surprises me all the time when I borrow a newer car. There's no space in newer cars inside. A small, older car is so much bigger. It's really weird. Either way, that it can do. This can haul a trailer as well. Of course, it can't be that big. Yeah, it's just capable of so much stuff without being extremely good at anything of that. And I mean that in a very positive way. Either way, if you have been following my channel, you will know that a car will not stay in my garage or my ownership for very long. So maybe it's time for this to also go. We'll see. But this got to be one of the coolest cars that I have ever owned, that's for sure. Let me show you the car a bit more in details. So this car is called a Panda, of course, and you might think that it's named after the animal, the bear, but apparently not. It's named after a goddess, I think, in some kind of maybe Greek mythology. I'm not sure about that. The goddess of simplicity. And I'm not going to talk more about that because I'm not even sure that I'm right about this. But, but this car is an example of simplicity for sure. There is nothing that is not needed. Or well, there is on this model because it's one of the newer ones. But still, it is very simple. For instance, the car is very small. So it only needs one wiper blade. That fits the entire screen pretty well. The front windscreen is completely flat. It's just a plain flat piece of glass. Very easy to pack if you need to send them, and difficult to destroy if it's packed because it's not curved and all that. So that's very nice. I think it's actually the case with all windows on this car. It is completely straight. No curvature at all. Very basic. That is lovely. I just saw a dent I never seen before. Yeah, that's just how it goes. Let me show you the engine. And this car got a bit of a personality thing where when you pull the thing to open, it doesn't really open. Yeah, it opened today. Sometimes it doesn't. And then I have to put pressure on it while pulling this one. And then it pops open. It's just a bit sticky, I think. But it's one of those things that you just get to live with rather than fix. And then at some point you forget that it's even broken. My Fiat Panda is a 1999 model, which is one of the very late models. It's not a Sisley, it's the trekking model. This means that it's way more modern than the older cars, that is for sure. The engine is a 1.1 fire engine, Fiat fire engine. You might know it from the Fiat Cinquecento Sporting. It's exactly the same engine. It is coupled together with a gearbox with 5 gears. The first gear is rather low. And then, of course, it's coupled together with a differential on the rear. And this is not a full-time 4x4. It got a lever in there that you pull up, and then it engages the 4x4 mode. So normal mode, it's front-wheel drive. And when you pull the lever, it gives drive to all 4 wheels. And you are not supposed to drive on tarmac with the 4x4 system, and you're not supposed to drive very fast with the 4x4 system. Everything down here is very simple, few sensors. Of course, the older Pandas are way more simpler, but this is still a simple design from 1999 at least. It got 54 horsepower, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually not bad because the car is very small, very light. So I don't really feel that it's a slow car. Of course, it got a limited top speed, but it's not that bad. Oh yeah, and the fuel tank. I fill this car up very often. It's not that it doesn't drive that long on a full tank, but it's a very tiny tank actually. It's 25 liters or thereabout. So yeah, it's around, I think I get around 330 kilometers of a full tank. So it's not as good as the Cinquecento, of course, but it's not bad either. It's very cheap to fill though, because 25 liters is not that much. And then take a look at this. The rear hatch opens up and you get a very big area to put stuff into the car. That's one of the things that rarely is this nice on newer cars, in my opinion. Let's get some light on this. And if you need to put some bigger stuff, then really take a look at this. This is a big boot, considering that this is a 4-person car. I even think it's possible to actually be 5 in it, but that's a lot of space. Comparing this to a Citroën C1, for instance, you pretty much can only have a bag in the rear. This is not bad, but if you need more space, you can just fold the entire thing down and actually one more time up, which gives you a pretty flat floor for putting big stuff in. And this is not bad. You can almost fit an entire pallet in there. So tiny car, but really well thought out. The interior is very basic, but still more modern than the older versions, of course. For instance, you got power windows, and I don't even know what to feel about that, but it's cool, but still maybe not that fitting for this car. Inside, you got a pretty basic setup. You got the lights. You got heated rear window. Ooh. Hazard lights, fog lights, and rear wiper. And also this is actually rear wiper and washer fluid put together in one button. Then you got some heat setups and front window washer. Over here you got indicator, and then this is the high beam. But unlike most cars, this is not pulled or pushed forward to engage. This is pushed upwards, no, downwards. And that just proves my point, because it's so difficult to remember which one it is, and when you drive in the dark, of course. So very often when I want to engage a high beam, I engage the indicators instead. So yeah, small thing, but it's just that. It's just how it is. The rest of the interior is just cloth material that is hanging on this beam right here. Everything is very, very flimsy and movable, and it is just a very simple setup. And if you want some fresh air, you can just open the vents that goes directly outside. That's very nice as well. Here we have the gear selector, 5 gears, like that. The handbrake, and then this lever down here in the dark is what you pull up to engage 4x4, and then down again. Let's take this wonderful car for a drive. When I got this car, I got the Cinquecento at the same time, so I got 2 cars with exactly the same engine and very different characteristics. That was quite fun. But yeah, it's a revvy little engine, the fire engine. It likes to rev, and it also likes to blow its head gasket, I know, but it is a very easy engine to work on also. So as a do-it-yourself daily driver, daily classic driver, this is a great car. And I own this car for 9 months now. That is almost a record because I do not keep my cars for long, and it's not because I don't like the cars, but as I have been trying to explain many times before, I have to sell cars to get the next one. And I got a very, very, very long bucket list of cars that I would like to try to own. And this was very high on that list, but now I have owned it and I have tried it, and maybe it's time to move on soon. But yeah, of course I would like to keep it and have a great big collection somewhere. A part of me wants that, and on the other hand, I know a lot of people who have got a big collection, and because it's very expensive to have number plates on all those cars, they maybe choose only to drive 1 or 2 of them, and then just keep the rest of them in the collection. And yeah, of course I would like to go out in my slippers and look at all my cars and all the richness about that feeling, of course, but in reality, why would I want to have cars that I'm not using? It would be a lot more fun that other people get to enjoy those cars. I don't know who said it, and it's about a specific car. I think it's a 2CV or something like that, but for me it actually works on all cars, that classic cars is not really something you should own. You can just borrow it and take care of it and then give it on to the next owner. I like that philosophy a lot, because these cars are stuff that needs to be tried and lived, and not just standing in some corner being fun to look at. At least for me. I have nothing against people who have a big collection, of course, but and I also envy them from time to time, because I know when I let this car go, for instance, then a couple of weeks later I will just reminisce and be all sad about it. But that is just how it is. It makes it possible to try something else, so that's okay. But I gotta say, this is one of the best cars that I ever owned. The best car I ever owned, I'm pretty sure, was my Saab 900 Turbo, old generation version of it, 2 doors. That was just a brilliant car. But this is pretty close to it, because it's capable of so much, and it's so much fun, and it's so nice to work on and all that. It's just a very, very good car. And also I think I bought it at the right time. The prices seem to skyrocket completely insane in my country at the moment. The hype is all about Panda 4x4s at the moment. I don't know really why, but that's just how it is. And they are super rare in my country. So yeah. But to people who are interested in buying a car like this, I can only say do it, of course. If you can work on your own cars, do it even more. If you can't, then get something very good, like this one, for instance. Get something that is not rusted, something with not too much mile on it. But if you can do stuff yourself, then it doesn't really matter. Just buy whatever you can get and fix it up, because it's just a box on wheels, and yeah, it's simple to work on. And it has been reliable while I have owned it. Nothing really big has happened with it. I've just done all the service part, changing the cam bell and so on. The clutch release bearing has started to make some noise, which is really annoying, because to fix that I can just as well fix the clutch. But yeah, other than that, it's just going on, and I'm using it for so much. I pulled a boat out of a lake the other day, and yeah, it's just so usable, this little car. I love it. Some of you might notice that I have not made many videos lately, and I have been quite busy and also struggling a little bit with the motivation for some of the stuff that I'm working on at the moment, and a lot of stuff has also changed. So I'm looking forward to reaching 3,000 subscribers, because then I will release a project update video as I normally do, and tell you all about the changes that I have happened and all the stuff that I hope will happen. And yeah, I'm really looking for the next project, by the way. I think it could be a fun thing to hear what you guys think would be a nice project for me. So please make a comment with what project you think that I should try to buy, and then let's see what happens. Anyway, thank you for watching, and see you soon, hopefully in a project update video. I only need, I think, 25 subscribers more, then I reach 3,000, and then we'll take a look at the current state of madness in my garage. But yeah, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Panda 4x4 power run. Whoa! It's actually not bad. It was a bit faster with the turbo, but it's not bad in standard form. It really isn't. Although I'm only doing 60 now, but it feels a lot faster than it really is. See you in the next one.